All right. So I just texted Kevin. It should be good.
And it's the live link is on YouTube.
Yes. It's going live now.
Okay, I'm just going to check too. Is Lee on with us? Is everybody on with us?
Lee just texted me. She can't get on.
Lee was on before and then she left.
She's saying she can't get on now.
Well, she needs a new phone number, or she needs the new link. Somebody send her the link again.
I will. If someone can let Lee know, I just emailed her the link.
Okay.
Hello? I hear a dog.
That must be Mylan's dog.
I'll mute my thing.
Yeah, I'm on by phone. It let me go on by phone. I couldn't go on my computer.
We hear you now, Lee.
Emily.
Okay, I think we're everybody's on.
So is it live streamed yet?
Yes.
Okay, I don't see it. I have it on. Is everybody on?
I'm on.
I'm on.
Eileen, Jackie.
I'm here, Mylan. The link is up there. It's on the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the same link. You can try to click mine and click the one up there. So can everyone hear us now, out in the public? Jesse, can everybody in the public hear us now?
Yes, I just tried it too on another computer I'm running, and it's everyone can hear it. You'll just see that static photo that Tech put up.
Okay.
Okay, so I need a motion and a second to enter into public session.
Lee says motion.
Eileen said second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Eileen says aye.
Jackie says aye.
Mark?
Lee said aye.
Mark?
Mark, say your name and say.
Mark says aye.
Okay, so we're going,
Mark, aye.
thank you. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance
Okay.
to the flag
To the flag
Me
Of
too.
the
of the
United States
Flag
of America.
of the United States of America.
to the
To the
republic,
republic
Republic.
stands
stand
one
Which
nation,
is called
one
under
nation,
God, indivisible,
nation
with
under
liberty
God, indivisible, with liberty and
and
justice
justice
for
for
all.
all.
Okay, I'd like to welcome Jesse, who is our new district clerk. Jesse, can you do the roll call?
Yes. So I'll do the board members first. Roll call: Mylan Aguilar,
Present?
Eileen Panico,
Yeah.
Jacqueline Napolitano Furno,
Present.
Lee Kennedy,
present.
Mark Washoff,
Present.
Linda Adams,
Present.
Reza Kohafar,
Present.
Bridget Villarreal,
Present.
Monica Manzi,
Present.
Dean Middleman,
Present.
Christina Poppy.
She's not here this
She's
evening.
not here. Okay. John Allen, and then for attorneys, I have Lisa Hutchinson,
Present.
Brian Jardy,
Present.
and Gary Stefanetta.
Gary left the meeting. He was just
Gary
there.
left. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay, so I understand there's changes to the meeting. Lisa, because
So
Justin,
you're gonna make a motion to amend the agenda to add, I'm not sure how many, resolutions?
that's what I need to know.
Yes.
There's 6 positions.
We're going to make a motion to amend the agenda to add to the personnel agenda. Is that correct? I just want to make sure I'm putting it in the right place.
Is
The
it-
allotment of 6 positions.
Is it 6?
Yes.
Okay. So Lisa, I would need a motion in a second to add those.
Hold on. Hello?
Correct, yes.
Hello? I just got a text. Eileen's not here. Hey, Jesse, I guess she's trying to get back in.
Okay. I just resent her the invite.
I used the phone number and I put the code in. That's how I got in.
If people are not speaking, can you turn off, mute your mic, please?
I hear someone has music going on.
If everybody can mute their mics if they're not speaking, please.
Well, Mylene, you had a question about amending the agenda. So you would make a motion to amend the agenda to add to the personnel section to the abolishment of the 6 positions. And you would need a first and a second and an affirmative vote.
Okay, so I need a motion and a second to reflect the changes to the personnel agenda.
Motion?
I'll second that. Mylan August seconds that.
But I want a separate, I don't want, I need a separate vote for each one, not as a whole.
When we get to
Not
the
as a whole.
Yeah, I understand that. When we get to the personnel, we'll extract and vote individually.
Okay.
Mark,
Yeah, I third it, but Eileen said she's still getting muted. She's not in. I'm just letting you guys know.
okay.
Jess-
Jackie, do you hear us? Jackie?
No, so Jackie's not here either.
Jackie's here. I
Oh.
had it on mute.
You hear me?
Eileen's there.
Okay, I have a motion on the table. I just need Mark, Eileen and Jackie to say yes for the changes to the personnel agenda.
Jackie, yes.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Eileen. Are you a yes to the changes on the
You can hear
personnel
me?
agenda? Yes.
Can
Mark's a yes.
you guys hear me?
Yes.
Mylin, can
Yes.
you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Mylin, you
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
I can hear you,
I
Eileen.
don't know if anybody can hear me.
All right.
Okay,
Can you hear
what's the
me?
motion, please?
We made changes to
What was the motion?
that there's changes to the agenda. The agenda is changes to the personnel agenda, 6 add-ons. So I just need a motion in a second to consent to the changes made to the personnel agenda. I motioned.
I second.
Mark,
Yes.
Eileen,
Yes.
Eileen,
She said yes. I heard her.
Yes. Yes.
okay, Jackie,
Jackie, I. Yes.
we're moving on to the minutes of the March 26, 2020 special meeting. I need a motion, a second.
Motion by Lee.
Second by
Mark.
Mark, seconds. All in favor? Mylan? Mark?
Aye.
Aye.
I, Jackie, I.
Lee,
Eileen?
aye.
Why don't we all wait for
Aye.
Mylene to call our name?
I'll call.
Crazy, but yes, Mylene, aye.
Okay, so we have all ayes and we have the motion passed on the minutes I'm sorry, of the March 26th meeting. We're moving on to policy. We have an item here, approval first reading of the new policy 6715 uniform guideline compliance for federal awards. I need a motion and a
That probably, and then we're gonna discuss
yes, we're gonna discuss. So I just need a motion, a second on the table, then for discussion.
motion. Motion by Eileen.
Second by Lee.
Okay, Eileen, you had questions?
I just want to make a statement about that. That policy was not done by the policy committee. It was a uniform policy that came down. I did ask the lawyers to review it. I just want to make sure that they did review it. And because I did not see any changes.
Okay, so after reviewing it, did you have any concerns?
So we were able to review it. This is being asked of all districts who receive federal funding to approve the policy, and it was consistent with our review with every district. So we did review it, and it is consistent.
Okay, so then I will need an all in favor.
To
Mark,
To approve the first
approve.
reading.
to approve the first reading, correct?
Okay.
Mark,
That Mylene, yeah, Mylene, roll call.
Mark? Eileen?
Can't hear Mark.
Lee?
Yes.
Jackie?
Jackie,
Jackie?
yes.
Mylan is a yes? Did Mark, and Mark said a yes? I didn't hear Mark.
Yes, I'm sorry. I had a phone. I had to take that. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Okay, we're moving on to new discussion items, end of year celebrations. I know at the last board meeting, we discussed about putting it on for a special night for our children in the district to be celebrated. We haven't come to any dates yet, but unfortunately, because of COVID, we may just have to table this so that the board can come together with a date in mind. So would you mind tabling this until we get further information on when schools will resume?
Mylan, I think this was more along the lines of looking at the end of the year celebrations like the prom and the senior banquet. And I did ask for
Wow.
guidance from the attorneys as to whether or not the board had the authority to cancel those and what it would mean if the board were to try to cancel those. So I think that was really what this was about, but I may be wrong. If that's not what it was put on for, then I could be wrong.
Then I misunderstood. I thought the end of the year celebrations were left off with the last month when we had discussions about when to celebrate kids. If this subject, I don't know who put this on, I did not put this on, but if it is,
I didn't put it on either.
I didn't put this on. So if it is a question of our children, in particular our seniors, that also goes for our middle school children as well, who are graduating from the 8th grade that normally get a ceremony. I'd like to see that when it's permitted.
If it's permissible.
What?
Listen, with safety involvement, as long as it's safe to do it, I'm 100% for doing it, even if it means we have to do this in July or August. These kids work their butts off to do this. We should be doing the same to make sure they get some sort of recognition for their accomplishments, especially our seniors.
Yeah,
Well,
so
I would think our seniors, because it's
Yes,
outside.
yes, I do agree. Like I said, and I've mentioned it publicly, that even if it means July, August, God forbid, latest in December, our seniors, in particular at the high school, should be celebrated. I would like to also, if it's okay with the board, to form a committee, if it's as late as August, of parents that would like to contribute their thoughts on what this celebration would look like, because we are now going into sort of uncharted waters. The high school would not be big enough to hold families and friends of the seniors. So we may have to move this venue to a different place. So if the board is open to having a committee of parents and staff to come up with ideas of what this new platform would look like, I would like that permission.
I don't have a problem with
Mylin,
that.
that won't, it won't fit on the football field. I mean, I don't have a problem. I'm just, it's, moving to another venue would be a cost. I don't know if we could,
Well,
I mean, I don't know all the logistics, but yeah, a committee would be great. If you're just asking for a committee and then we'll hear all the ideas, I have no problem with that. I think our football field is probably the best place. I mean, it was awesome when Mike's daughter graduated there and my son and my other daughter. So I don't know. Yeah, but a committee, I'm fine with that too. Whatever for the kids. If it's for the kids, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm fine with a committee, Jackie. I'm fine with a committee. I think whatever we could do to make sure that we wait until we see what happens by the end of May. I think we have some time to play with for that kind of decision to be made.
Yeah, I'm only throwing out the idea of a committee, and that's going on a worst case scenario if we have to have this in December. Yeah, hopefully we can have this in August, and like you said, Eileen, we can definitely do this outside. But also the idea of having this committee would also include the idea of having the prom for the children, because we had a venue already set. We don't know what that venue is going to look like, or if they're even going to have a spot for our kids. So I just want to make sure that all the information is provided. There is a committee, and that if in case there is no prom venue, that we can sort of come up with ideas to still have that celebration for our children.
I got you now. Yeah, no, I understand that. That's awesome. I have no problem with that. Eileen speaking.
Now the other thing as well, we are looking at our middle school graduations. Again, I don't know, going forward, again, that's a special day for the kids. It's a special day for families and friends. If we're going to allow the high school, do we make the same consideration for the middle school to have their also graduation?
They don't have a graduation. They have a moving up ceremony.
Moving up
Totally
ceremony.
different.
That's true. It's
different.
that's true. But I just wanted to
Uh,
put it out there for consideration.
In a perfect world, if everything goes hopefully better next month, let's hope that we can actually have something special for all of the moving up, the 5th graders that are moving up, the 8th graders that are moving up, the 12th grade seniors. But the reality is, if not, worst case scenario, we have to look at the seniors because this is their last opportunity for any sort of celebration for their accomplishment from kindergarten up. Whereas I would love to have something for the eighth graders if it's permissible and safe to do so.
Yes,
And the same for the fifth graders. It would be nice that all these kids would get something. I mean, in reality, even our kindergarten classes got to do special things. So if we could accommodate people, that would be great. But if it comes down to that school, and again, this is on Governor Cuomo, if the schools get closed in May, and then who knows what he's going to do for June, we don't know. We only know up to May 15th. But worst case scenario, I would say we have to worry about definitely the seniors first and foremost, because it is their last opportunity at Connecticut to have any sort of accomplishment and recognition by all of us. If we
yes,
can
I
do the
agree.
eighth graders, fifth graders, kindergartners, and anything else that we see permissible and safe, I would be for it.
Yes,
Me too.
yes, I just wanted to put that out for a consideration. And the reason why is because we don't know what the new normalcy is going to look like. But as a Board of Education, we try our best. We're all parents. We do try our best. We understand what these parents are going through, and to miss out opportunities of celebration for our children. I just want to be able to see if there's an opportunity. Of course, being provided that it's healthy to do so. But just having the option or the opportunity, I just wanted to have that addressed.
Okay, Eileen's saying okay with that.
Thank you, Eileen.
Do we need to make a motion or anything, or is that just a discussion for a later time when this COVID-19 thing goes away?
I think, Lisa, can you weigh on that, Lisa?
And so, and it sounds like you want to form an exploratory committee with regard to what, if any, end of year celebrations you can have in terms of graduation. Yeah, you would need to, somebody can put a motion on the table for that. Sounds like it would be a committee including members of the Board of Education and parents. Like a
Correct.
state.
Thank you.
And the teachers who run these things have to be included
Yes,
in this too,
absolutely.
no?
Okay,
Yes,
so
teachers too.
it would be a motion to create an exploratory committee to examine what, if any, end of year celebrations for graduates can be held involving stakeholders, including teachers, and parents.
Why don't you
Well as
make a
the Board
motion?
of Education.
I'll make a motion. Eileen,
Second.
Mark is a
I'll
second.
second, Mark second. Okay.
Eileen, are we a
I
yes?
agree, yes.
Eileen?
I'm a yes.
I'm sorry, Lee?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Okay, so we have 5 yeses. Thank you. Moving on to continuation of clubs.
Oh,
Okay,
So,
the
you
club,
want me to start,
good.
or you want to start? Mylin, why don't you call us by name when it's our turn to speak, so we all just jump in willy-nilly? Why don't you speak and then go down the line and call our names so they have a chance to speak, and we're not, everybody could hear us properly.
okay, so with
Just my
the,
opinion.
okay, great, that's fine. With the topic of continuation of clubs, we've had a conversation with administration. We also had a conversation with the president of the teachers union. I think that we are all in agreement that if clubs that can virtually continue to run, and those teachers that want to continue providing this virtual club experience, that those will be the ones to continue and get paid. Eileen?
I have no other discussion to add to that. You said it in a nutshell. We talked to Tony, we got our questions answered. The clubs that can be run, and the teachers gave us all those papers with their great ideas about how to run them. I think it's awesome. I am not a money shot the year. I think if it engages even one kid, we're good. So I agree.
Mark?
I agree. I just want to make sure that the teachers, we put in there that they give us results of what happened and comments, so we get a little feedback, so we know going forward how to handle this.
True, good.
Thank you.
I
Thank you,
agree.
Mark. Jackie? Jackie?
Anything that they can utilize and do for the kids while they're out right now with all this anxiety, I'm 100% for. So any of these clubs that they can use and utilize and the teachers want to do them, I'm for. So mine's a yes.
Lee?
I agree that we should let the clubs go. We
Okay.
could continue with the clubs.
Those that can function with virtual distancing.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And the ones
Alright.
where the teachers responded. If they didn't respond, and that means that, and they don't respond, that means they're not doing it.
Right,
The list that was there is a good list.
right,
Right.
Thank
Based
you.
on
So,
that list.
right. I agree.
Lisa,
Okay,
it's Jackie speaking. I just think that we need to make sure that if a teacher can't do it because, God forbid they have something personal going on or whatever the issue is, that should be something that it should be whatever teachers want to do it and can do it right now with all that's going on with this crisis. That should be whichever ones we can do is what we should do. But those that we can't do, there should be no problem with that either.
thank you, Jackie.
I believe Tony answered that for us, and Eileen speaking, I believe Tony answered that for us, and he agreed with that. So I think we're all good on that front.
I agree. Thank you. Okay, so we have five
Okay.
to move forward with clubs. Lisa, can you just give us a little information because I don't know what the legalities are of what we can speak about, but can you just touch on the Suffolk transportation contract?
Yes. So the district is exploring, negotiating the question of continuation of their contract with Suffolk Transportation. And we are going to be having discussions through the district with Suffolk Transportation as to making sure that they're ready, willing, and able to continue transportation should school start again in May 15th or whenever schools open. As a result, the district is going to see if it can, I'm trying to be very careful in my wording, have further conversations with them about their willingness and ability to continue transportation through the end of the school year, considering the closing of schools. So we are going to have those conversations and then come back to the board with further recommendations after those conversations with Suffolk Transportation.
Thank you,
So
Lisa.
there's no discussion needed because you're going to handle that, Lisa. I'm sorry, Eileen speaking.
I'll be working with Bridget and Dr. And Linda, Dr. Adams, to have those discussions with Suffolk Transportation. Yeah. So we'll, by your next board
Thank
meeting,
you.
you can have an update as to how to move forward with that.
Thank you,
Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, we're moving on to rezoning. Linda, would you like to open that conversation?
So the board asked us to look at the idea of moving students in the south end of the district to remove all students from John Pearl Elementary School. We looked at moving certain students out of Basti and into Idlehour, and then breaking up the remaining Pearl enrollees and moving them into Basti and into Sycamore. The board was presented with what that might look like. It actually increases the number of teaching sections that would be needed district-wide in the South End schools by 2. So it actually increases the FTEs and teachers by 2. It would allow the abolishment of 1 elementary principal position, 1 nurse position, 4 custodial positions, 2 clerical positions, 1 librarian, and 2 food service workers. Right now, with the COVID pandemic that's going on and the increase in unemployment insurance that is mandated by this crisis, that would, and since we are self-insured, we would have to pay for those unemployment costs. It would result in a savings at this time of $177,053 if we were to do that rezoning and close that building at this time.
Isn't that price, Linda, isn't that price wrong? Because I looked at the numbers and we're not taking into consideration the federal money that we get for unemployment. We only you guys showed it as the whole amount. And that's not necessarily true. The government comes in and there's federal money that's given to us.
Yes, we're not sure how that's going to happen though, and we're not sure if we would have to lay that out first and then get that reimbursed and what that process might look like. So
But
we
that
wanted
is,
to
but that
include,
is customary how it's done.
right,
Customarily.
but we need to include that in our budget
Okay,
so
but
that we would know that it
customarily,
was there.
okay, but
We pay the
past
full
practice and
amount,
customarily,
we don't pay a
the
project.
federal government pays that.
Again, we don't know at this moment what that process looks like because we're unemployed, we're are uninsured, or we are self-insured in our unemployment insurance. We're not sure how that process will look, if we will have to pay that and get reimbursed. So we needed to include that as a budgetary line item, even though it may be a flow through and we might get that back. We just needed to know what that
Linda,
might look
can you
like.
explain the self-insurance, for, because from, from a business perspective, all the time you have unemployment insurance, every company has to have it. Every not-for-profit has to have it if they have employees, and you pay a percentage. You're saying we pay the full amount?
We are self-insured. We do not have an insurer who picks up that cost.
Wait.
We have, since I've been here, we've been self-insured. I'm not sure how long back that goes, but we've been self-insured the whole time that I've been in the district. That was not
Okay, we
something
need
the
to look
board
into
ever-
that because it,
Well, we don't have
yeah,
to pay the
thing that we
600.
should definitely do.
We pay the
Well-
we don't pay that extra.
No, she's
$600.
saying that we pay the $600 because
No,
we're
why we have to
don't
pay the
have an
600?
insurance company.
That's from the government.
Self-insured, we don't
That's
have an insurance company, which is ridiculous to me. Why we don't have an insurance company to handle that?
also
No one
from the
ever looked
government.
into that?
600.
Linda, no one ever looked into that? Like, what is, that's,
That's
I
been,
don't
that's
understand that.
what, that's the policy we've always had in Connecticut. And I'm not sure how far back that goes, but the entire time that I've been here, we have been self-insured.
But we're not.
Never
obligated
questioned
to
that.
pay
I never knew that. Why didn't anybody ever question that? From not just the board, like our people and Bridget. I know you're new, but it just doesn't sound.
It's never
So
been questioned. It's the first time the board is bringing it up.
I can answer this question. So districts can contribute to unemployment in one of two ways. It's either through a quarterly tax as part of the payroll tax reporting, or it's through district reimbursement to the Department of Labor for benefits.
Right. So why are we paying the full $600 and the full? Well, first of all, that's given. We're not supposed to have to pay that back. No one. But why are we paying for all our employees? We pay them that when it should be coming from unemployment. I don't understand.
Yeah.
When somebody, so just explain to me. Give me a scenario. When someone gets fired and they go to collect unemployment, we give them a check from unemployment. How do we figure out what the total is? Employment has all the rules. Don't they have to apply for unemployment?
Yes, they file for unemployment.
And then they get a
So then
percentage
it
of
doesn't
their
come
pay,
to us.
correct?
We pay a percentage.
So that was my
Yeah.
question too, is Bridget, if that number that you gave us was the whole number, technically you're not deducting what the federal government gives us in response to that unemployment. And the fact that that payment that we make, that's for 1 year. So for the first year, if someone
Wait,
is
the federal
unemployed,
is
you pay
getting
that,
that
but the
$600
next year
to
and the following
people.
year is where the savings is.
All right, Mylin, and let's do it person by person because a lot.
All right,
You want to go
so,
first, Mylin?
so I understand that we are looking at making some budgetary changes. And we will need to do that considering that we are on shaky waters as far as what the state aid is going to be. I don't think anybody really has a true number, or with this pandemic, how much this will impact us financially. So I know that the board had wanted to look at different ways of us trying to save money. going forward. Looking at the information that Linda had provided us, again, with the unemployment figures and not having a true number and just a speculative, just speculating on a number, it's hard to make a decision based on what ifs. If we look at the other unemployment number, that's 500, I'm sorry, Linda, if you look at, what is the total savings on the unemployment without the $600?
It's $506,527. That's the total savings.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But that doesn't include all the maintenance and upkeep if the building was to be rented a year or two from now, correct?
Well, we'd be getting income, so that would make the savings more.
Right.
Well,
So
Well, just so you know, I also checked all the budgets. All the budget lines where John Pearl would be discontinued. And then if I look through this thing again, the staffing, that the changes would make everyone's Sycamore, Boston, all of the Sycamore, Boston, and Idlehour, all their class sizes would actually go down. So, I don't see it as a bad thing. But again, you go through the budget, each school has a line item for many, many different things. Those all have to come out. This spreadsheet doesn't show that. And again, that unemployment, that $600, from what I understand, is coming direct from the federal government, much like your checks. So if you apply for unemployment, you're going to get a direct check from the federal government. So I don't know why you would include that in that figure. So the savings is more. And just, Mylene said it's speculative. The numbers are always going to be speculative because you really don't know how much anybody's getting in unemployment. But the numbers that you gave us for savings for the first year is $506,000, $500,000. I think it's going to be a lot harder if you go through the budget and pull out all the John Pearl expenses.
You wouldn't actually pull out all the John Pearl expenses because those are expense driven by child. So what you see when you look at John Pearl expenses is the money.
I'm sorry,
given to
Linda, I'm
that
gonna cut in really fast. But some of the expenses I'm talking about, not about the per child ones, just to clarify what I'm saying. I'm talking about maintenance. There's each school has a John Pearl and they have a Boston. You have every school has maintenance. They have supply maintenance, they have clerical supplies. Obviously, if you close the school, those kinds of things would be taken out of the budget. I just to clarify. I'll let you speak. I'm sorry.
That is correct. Those the office supplies would generally not stay in, and we would still be waxing floors, and we would have more classrooms in different buildings. So we are actually adding 2 teachers. So I don't think we can completely eradicate those budget lines, but they would certainly come down. That's true. This was really an exercise in what the staffing decrease would be. It was not everything that might come down. The electricity obviously goes down. The telephone usage obviously goes down. But this was just the staffing look.
And the staff, you said the thing, if I'm correct, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when I look at other schools to absorb those children, the class sizes actually went down in every single case. Because we are adding another teacher. So you add a teacher here, you add a teacher there, we get smaller class sizes, and we save money, and then we get the school. Okay, so I guess the question now is, if we were to go forward with this, and nobody's saying that we are yet, it's just exploratory at this point, but if we are, because we can make some cuts somewhere, how would we go about getting the rest of that information and the rezoning?
I'm not sure I understand your question. You'd want to see where the cuts were, where the lines were that are drawing to the different schools?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to see the whole picture, the money that would be saved, like for those supplies that we talked about. I mean, you showed us about this, like I said, the class sizes, which I don't think any parent's going to complain when their kids in a smaller class. I'd like to see the money, the money that would be taken off the budget. And, I think a big question for parents would be the rezoning. If their kid is in John Pearl, are they going to go to Sycamore? Are they going to go to Boston? Are they going to go to Idlehour? How long is the bus trip? So I'd like to know those those as well, and that goes with the rezoning thing. You know, because if we do this, we kind of get, we have to do it now, because there's a lot of money to save now, and we don't know in this climate if we're gonna, the aid that we're getting right now, it's going as we speak. So not as much as we used to get. So I would rather do that than cut some teachers, who are lower class size. That's just my 2 cents.
I would like to see what all the moving parts are going to look like, in particular to the impact on our children.
I remember when I first came on the board, we spoke about it. And the big thing about it was we were worried that the parents would be mad and upset. But physically responsible, it was the right move to do. We have 170 students in that school, and there's like 25 to 35 kids per grade. 25 kids per grade. That's just doesn't make sense if we're trying to do things responsibly. That's the big thing. And most people were afraid because they would hurt feelings. But if we're supposed to be responsible, we need to look into this a lot more and make a decision, because we're in a little bit of a crunch. And I think we need to do what we need to do for the school.
I agree with that's good. And I agree with all that.
We are talking
Marlene, I think we have to hear from Jackie and Lee, right?
It's
Yeah.
Jackie now, I'm up. I gotta tell you, I spoke to some people and I looked into some other districts, and there's a district that we neighbor that shut 3 of their schools. Tough times mean we have to make tough decisions. They're not always easy. You don't want to hurt anybody, and you definitely don't want to hurt anybody's livelihood. But at the same time, we have to make decisions that are fiscally responsibly for us and for all of our community and taxpayers, as well as what's best for our kids. The truth of the matter is, at the end of the day, our children are all going to still go into OBMS and RMS, and still going to meet again in Connecticut High School. At the end of the day, we're all still going to be Connecticut. We're all still going to be T-Birds, and we're all still going to have the same children in the same vicinity, in the same schools, doing the same thing. Cherokee, Boston are the same building when you look at them. But the 2 buildings have different amounts of students in them, even though one is a little bit bigger. At the end of the day, when you look at the numbers of how many children are in each school, it is true we cannot sustain a school that is kind of like a private school compared to our other elementary schools. It's not personal. It's not to hurt any child. It's actually to just try to work out the rezoning of what we would do in the event that we shut a school and we move children around. That would be the school that would be the one, unfortunately, because it is so close to 2 and 3 other schools. So at the end of the day, we got to do what we got to do for our budgetary purposes and moving forward for what this is going to look like 3 to 5 years ahead.
Moving forward, we need to get a resolution, and we need to have that on the next budget, the board meeting, for the budget purposes, I think, so then we can see it also. That's just a suggestion. I used to live on Lakeland Avenue. My son actually went to John Pearl. We moved when he was in 2nd grade, and we moved to the other side. He ended up going to Sycamore. And at first it was a little bit, he had to adapt, but it made him better and stronger because he got to meet more kids, and it prepared him better for junior high. So there are some advantages, not only as there are disadvantages. So I don't think we're hurting anybody, which is what really would, if we were hurting kids, then I would see this is not something we should do. But I don't think we're hurting anybody, and that's more important. And we're doing what's right responsibly, physically. That's my input on that.
Or make a resolution to have this done before we vote on the budget.
I would love to see something where we do something.
Did you say yes?
Yes.
So how do we do that? Lisa, Mylene, somebody?
It
Lisa,
doesn't sound like you're making a decision today, so you just want to, because you seem to have a lot of questions for Linda about the, the routes and things of that nature. So it would probably be a more formal resolution that you present after you have your questions answered. So, I mean, it seems like you're directing Linda to provide more information. And then when you get it, a more formalized resolution would be created about the closure
How
of
long would that take?
to get that information. I will leave that to Linda
Yeah.
to answer.
So all I have right now is we want to look at what lines would go down and where the lines would be drawn for where the kids would be going to the different buildings, as well as the potential routes. I would just caution, I will definitely give the routes and the timing to the board, but it's a security issue to give out the routes to the public. But I can certainly put together how long the routes would be and where the lines would be drawn for the different elementary schools, as well as taking a look at the deduction of some of the materials that wouldn't necessarily follow the kids. That should take us a couple days. By next Monday or Tuesday, we should be able to have that.
Linda, can we
Okay.
also look into 5 years forward, not like do a projection the way we have done in the past, saying that what would it be 5 years from now as a savings versus the first year is never the year that we get a savings. This is why a lot of times the first year you have to eat some of the costs. Then the going forward is when you save the money. That's when the actual savings
And then
begin.
No matter
gonna
when you do it, the
be
first year is
building.
going to be the same. So that's something I think we all need. No matter when you do make this move, the first year will always be a little bit less based on what you explained to us, Linda. So it doesn't make a difference if we did it 3 years ago, next year, or whatever. It's still going to be the same. The first year will not be as much of a savings. If that's what I'm understanding from you, Linda.
I'm not sure that that's necessarily true. The reason that we said that earlier was because of the change in the unemployment. So when the employment went up, and it not only did it extend, but it not only did it add the federal government's piece, it also extended the weeks that people were entitled to. So that would decrease the amount of savings because we would have to reimburse that. So I'm not sure I understand what you're asking me, Jackie, because really what's going to happen is that principal will, once we cut a principal salary, that principal will be gone. So it's not like we're saving that every year. It will be gone and it'll never go back into the budget. So I don't know if I understand the question.
We can discuss at a later time. But what I'm saying to you is you're not really, you said to me in a past conversation that at some point we were going to have to close the school. That was a conversation you and I had.
Yeah.
And I know that a school at some point is going to need to be closed because we have 1,450 less students than 2007.
Correct.
1,450 less students. How, and no offense to everybody, but how we have not closed the school yet is beyond me. It's not to hurt students, because even if it was my own personal child's school, I'd be saying 1,450 students have left Connecticut, but yet we have more staff, more administration. I don't understand it. Buildings with less kids, schools that have 13 kids in one elementary school class and 26 in the other, which I'm totally against. But yet, if you close the school, you bring the numbers down to 21, 22, 18, 19. It just doesn't make sense, all of it. And I understand that unless it's something that I'm starting to see administration wants to do, it's not always the best idea. But the problem is we got our hands tied right now. We really have our hands tied right now. So I don't really understand what everybody wants to say. We have our hands tied. The state's going to give less aid, right? We're pretty confident about that. The crisis we're in right now, poor planning on many sides here. I've only been here 8-9 months, and I'm in shock at all that I'm learning. All I can say is that there are unfortunately tough decisions to be made, and it really isn't good that I walked into this and have to help make this kind of decision. But at some point, this decision has to be made. You can't have 100 less students next year, 1,450 students less from 2007. and just keep adding administration and adding more and more staffing. But yet, not adding the amount of, if you told me we were adding all mental health services on the grounds, in the schools, extra YFS, extra of these psychologists and guidance, I say to you, I'm for it. The people who actually are sitting with the children. But that isn't what we're looking at. We're looking at more central office personnel. And honestly, we need less people. We need more children here if we want more schools open. But with less students, we have to make a big decision, a tough one. And it's not a good one, but it's a tough one. But it has to be made, or we're not doing what we're supposed to for our taxpayers and for the children's sake. Because at some point, you're going to have one school with 8 kids in the class and another elementary school with 30 kids in the class. And that's unacceptable.
So Jackie, can I just interrupt because I want to make sure I'm hearing everything right? So do you want to wait for the information to the next meeting and then make a decision? Or do you want to that decision now to take it off? I'm not, I just clarify.
Whatever you guys want to do, I know what my decision is. It's a hard decision. But if any other parent,
Okay.
taxpayer saw the numbers and was in the position we're in, they would have to make this tough decision too. This isn't a decision that you want to make. It's a decision that you have no choice but to make. You have to look at the numbers. This isn't even about money per se. You know, it is a savings. We need to save money in places. But going forward, how are you going to justify having school classes with 7, 8 kids in a general ed class, and yet another elementary school with 30 kids, 26, 27? And that's what we do have right now.
I know. Linda, let me ask you something. There was also talk in problems even before Jackie, when we started to talk about closing a school, that we could rent out that building and get an income actually. Correct?
Yes, we actually had someone who was interested in it about a year or two ago for taking it over. I don't know what, we would have to pick out a real estate agent, and I'm sure that that's more of a legal thing to try to get something like that rented, but that we certainly could, if the board decided that they wanted to move forward with trying to rent that facility, we could certainly look into doing something like that.
So Linda, I mean, I was hoping that at some point that we would be able to repurpose Pearl and potentially bring in some of the BOE programs that we outsource to sort of bring that in-house. If we do any type of lease, most times they're going to look for a 5 or 10-year lease. I would think that would have some impact on the district having some utilization on the building if we wanted to create our own programs.
That's true. That's why it would be a whole board decision whether or not you wanted to rent it or you wanted to repurpose it for something else.
Well, if we repurposed it, the idea is that we would save a lot of money because we wouldn't be using BOCES, correct?
That is correct. We had spoken a little bit about bringing the career technical education programs back into the district somehow. And that is something that we've been talking about. We do send about 140 to 150 kids, excuse me, to CTE programs at BOCES at a cost of almost $3 million each year.
So we make more money by making $3 million, or you think by renting it? I don't know. That's something that I think you'd have to look into. And how are we going to do this? Who handles this? You would go out and handle it? Who does this?
Generally, curriculum instruction programs would come out of the Office of Curriculum Instruction. And if it was a special education program that we were bringing back, it would come out of the Office of Special Education.
Linda,
Let me ask you something.
Wait,
I got
let me just ask this one question about BOCES. Talking about this.
Question.
Wait, Jackie, wait. If Linda, you're talking about bringing the CTE in to repurpose instead of saying renting it out. Some of those CTEs, we're talking about plumbing, automotive, that kind of thing. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, bringing back programs that our kids want.
Wouldn't we have a big, at least a one-time, or if not more, because you have to keep replacing stuff, equipment charges and all the materials that you needed for those classes that BOCES already has. So wouldn't we need those numbers to see if we're actually saving $3 million a year, or if it's going to cost us about the same? Because those are expensive. If you're talking about bringing in, plumbing and heating and mechanics, that's not cheap. So, I mean, if we're going to spend $3 million to send our kids there, and it's going to cost us $2.9 million to bring in, plus salaries, plus benefits, plus all that, I don't be, that's a big thing. But we could also, if we were to do that, we could also rent out the building and then with a lease.
Well, that was my question, Eileen.
In the future,
Wha-
okay.
Why don't we though, and this is what I don't understand, why don't we get some references and some research done from these other schools that neighbor us that all did this kind of stuff because the enrollment was so down. Enrollment was down, funds were down. You had
Great
to do
idea,
what you had to
Jackie.
do.
Great idea.
If you do that, obviously, if we see the mistakes they made, and I spoke to a few people already, so I know they didn't make a mistake in closing a few schools. They did what was necessary. It doesn't always work to benefit everybody. There is a minority in that, but the majority of people understood 1,450 students less. We cannot sustain all of these buildings.
So let's get the information, and Linda, will you present it to us before the next meeting so that we can make an informed decision on whether or not we want to take this off the budget?
So what I'm doing for the next meeting will be showing you the rezoning lines where the children will be moving from Basti to Idlehour and from Pearl to Basti and Sycamore, the potential route times, and the potential decrease in some budget lines. Those are the three things that you're asking for.
No, and what Jackie just mentioned about the other school district that closed the buildings.
I'm not going to be able to get all that within the next week or so. I know I can call the superintendent of Sachem. He wasn't there when the decision was made, but he's rented one of the buildings out to BOCES. I'm not sure what the other two buildings are doing. There's, I'm not sure what kind of real estate venues are out there that would be interested in
that, but if
renting
you can get
an
like
elementary
even
school.
No, but if you could call, that would be good
Get,
because I
like, the
think that the
income that he's-
neighboring schools,
Yeah.
they've done it so they know if it's beneficial or not and which way it benefited them the best and the most because they are doing better now for it.
I can certainly talk to
Okay,
him.
so thank you, Linda. I'm okay with that. Everybody else?
I'm fine with that. I'd like to have more information. Okay.
Okay.
Everybody okay with that? We're ready to move on to public comment.
Is the public
Jesse-
comment or do me? Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Jesse, I believe did receive one question. Jesse, would you mind reading the one question?
Sure. It is from Tracy Watson. And her question was, is there a plan to request teachers provide video instruction district-wide? Some teachers do, some teachers don't.
Linda, would you like to address that or maybe,
I'm going to ask
Get
Mr.
that.
Middleman to address that.
Hi, everyone. We are currently providing an opportunity for our kids over different platforms. And it was a discussion with the bargaining units to leave it up to the instructional staff to select the platform that worked best for them. Still giving that autonomy to how the delivery of instruction takes place. If we were to move to more video-based instruction, that would definitely have to be a conversation with the bargaining unit.
thank you. Okay, we're moving on to resignations, terminations, leaves of absence. Unless I refreshed it and I do not see any
I
changes.
refreshed it and it's not changed. Yeah, I just texted Jesse that.
Yeah, I
Is it
refreshed and it's not
changed?
changed.
Not
You
seeing, I'm not
you
seeing the
can
list.
do schedule 1A through C. I'm sorry, schedule 1. You can do managerial schedule 1 without the changes. You can do the regular agenda. So you can do schedule 1 through 5, and then you can do your new agenda items.
Okay,
I don't know, like, wait, I don't know the new agenda, even if you do it that way. I don't know the order of the positions.
Yeah, I don't have it either.
Right,
It's not
I-
refreshing on my computer either.
Right, because I couldn't
Can you,
update it. It was
okay,
locked in board docs.
okay, can you put it in chat? Because only we can see the chat, correct?
Correct.
All right. Can you just put them on the chat? You want a few seconds?
Well, you're going to talk about the title, not the person, correct?
The title only, yes. The position only. It's not about people, it's about a position.
I think I understand that.
I wanted the public to understand that. That's why I said that. Lee, are
okay,
you
so
on the
how,
phone though? Lee, are you
I'm
on
on
the
the phone. I
phone?
can't.
So you're not
Yeah,
gonna be
I'm
able
on
to.
my phone.
Lee, you're gonna need to be able to see the board docs, Lee.
I
You
can
know what?
see
I can
board
take
docs.
a picture.
All
I
right, well,
can see
just,
board docs.
So can I
Oh,
ask you
no,
to
but it's
vote
not gonna
on
be
the
on board
original
docs.
agenda first before we move on to these other positions, just so that we can get that business out of the way? Because then you're going to go one by one, correct? So can we do schedule 1, items 1 through 5 first before we move on to the next?
Schedule 1 through 5.
all right, I need a motion for items 1 through 5.
On schedule, I only see 1 through 4. Oh,
1 through
5.
4. I'm sorry.
There's
There
nothing
is
at
no
5.
5.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, 1 through 4.
Motion, Jackie.
Okay.
I'll second that, Jeff.
Second. All right. Oh, you can second.
Okay, do we have, Mark, are you a yes?
Yes.
Jackie, are you a yes?
Jackie's a yes.
Eileen?
Sure. Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
And Mylan is a yes.
Okay.
Okay, so while Jesse's working on what she needs to, let's do the schedule 2 appointments, tenure, salary changes.
Okay, and there's 4 of those also.
3.
I just have a question of 3A. And it's just a question about procedure, not about the person. So I think I can ask it in public. Linda, when that happens, are they gonna take over a class?
I couldn't hear you at all.
During this time, I mean, it's a weird time. Oh, sorry, can you hear me now?
No.
You still hear me?
Someone has something playing in the background.
Yes, I hear background noise. Linda, so my question is, how does that work? Just out of curiosity, when there's sort of, thing that happens, maybe somebody has a COVID and they're out and we need a substitute. Does that substitute now go do the platform, or they pick a new platform? Just how does that work?
They would take over the platform that teacher had already established.
Gotcha. And that's all. I just curious about that. I'm a yes on Eileen.
Okay, so we had the 5 yeses. Do I have the 5 yeses?
Oh, I don't. You can poll everybody.
Okay, so
Yes.
Eileen is a yes.
Lee.
I'm a yes. Lee's a yes. Mark?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Jackie?
No, yes,
Okay.
I'm here,
Okay.
Jackie, yes.
And now we're waiting. Okay.
Now if
And
you
now we
guys,
have the.
if you go to your chat, you'll see the items 1 through 6.
If you can, I'll take a picture and text it to somebody if you need it.
I can't see them. I'll hear
right.
them.
No,
I just have to hear them.
No, we can't say them out loud, lady.
You can't say what out loud? The position?
You can say positions, you can.
Oh, we're gonna say the positions. That's right. And then we're gonna discuss them. Okay. So, Mylan, go ahead. So, number 1, we'll vote separate because you guys want to have discussions.
Okay, so I'll go to item number 1. It's the Assistant Superintendent for Special Services. I'll open it up for a discussion.
So that's a
I'll say
motion.
no.
That's a motion to abolish that position.
It's a motion to abolish that position.
So
And
don't we have a motion to
terminology.
discuss all of them?
Well, yeah, I wanted to have a conversation, Lisa.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead. So if you're gonna make a motion, do you want to make a motion on all six or go through each one by one?
Individual.
One by one.
Okay, so you're making a motion to abolish the position of Assistant Superintendent for Special Services. You have a first and a second, and then discussion.
Yes,
A
so
motion,
I'll
I
second the motion.
motion. Okay, now discussion.
Lee, do you want to start?
Yes, was what, that person is responsible for many different avenues in the district between guidance. A lot of different avenues. I think we're only hurting, in the long run, we're only going to hurt the district and in essence hurt the children. And that's who we're here for. So I think by getting rid of that particular position, you're going to hurt children. There's another one that you're going to hurt children. It's directly going to hurt education and children. So I would say I would not get rid of that position.
Anybody else want to comment?
I have no, I'm not.
Okay, my comment is that, considering that we are looking at a new way of living. Can somebody shut their mic off? Considering that there's going to be many changes in the special education department, we're going to see children regress. We're going to see, more than likely, elevated numbers of children that are going to need mental health services. I don't think that this is the time to be accessing anybody in the special education department, in particular this role. I think there's too many concerns going forward, and we're going to have all hands on deck to make sure that all our students, in particular our special education students, get every needs, all their needs met. So that is my feeling.
Okay,
Okay,
Jackie.
go ahead, Jackie.
There is 5 years ago, a position was made, and there has been a decline in the enrollment, and we just keep making these large, high end positions, when really what you're talking about we need is more YFS workers. We need more guidance counselors. We need more psychiatrists in the schools. That's what we need, not the people that are sitting in offices. I'm sorry, but that is what we need. We have directors. We have all this other stuff going on. We have directors. We have supers. We have assistants to assistants. It's too much. So it's not about any personal person. It's about positions that we have to look into, and we have to do what we have to do. And it's sad, but we have to do these kind of things to make the best fiscally responsible and honestly educated decision we can with this. We have directors that we entrust our students to. They're the ones that respond to our people in the schools. We do not need assistants to assistants to assistants. But that again is just my opinion. I will never take away somebody in a school to hurt children. If anything, I want to put more people in the schools in mental health services, in special ed services. I want to take the people out of offices that's really not. They're not the boots on the ground with the kids. They're not.
Mark?
I don't want to say anything.
Eileen?
I'm just gonna say that I agree with what Jackie said, and I'm ready to vote.
Okay. So my vote is a no.
Lee's vote is a no.
I'm a yes, Mark.
Eileen is a yes to abolish the position.
Jackie is a yes.
If I can make a friendly amendment to that resolution, that the Board of Education Legislation hereby abolishes the position of Assistant Superintendent for Special Services, effective June 30th. There was no date placed upon the
Yes, thank you.
that position.
Right,
And then
that's good.
typically when the position is abolished, we also state be it further resolved that the employment of the employee with the least seniority in the tenure area shall be discontinued effective June 30th, 2020. That could be
Perfect.
added to that as a friendly amendment because it's a given, but typically we state that along with the abolishment of the position.
I'm okay with that, thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction. I'm asking for a motion and then for a discussion. I'll motion.
Motion, second. Eileen seconds.
Mark, yeah, third.
Okay, I guess my concern here is if a stipend can be provided so that there is overview of the departments.
What?
Linda,
I don't know what your question was, Marlene, can you explain that?
I'm trying to figure out how to ask it without saying anything.
Well, why don't, can
Too
I
much.
just say something?
Yes.
You know, if you don't have oil in your car dies. The car can't run without oil. We all know that, right? It would just burn the engine. And that's what will happen if we don't have an assistant superintendent of curriculum that runs the show, that handles the education for all students, not one, for all. All these programs that go into the schools are because of one person who heads it up and works with a group of people in order to look at our programs, to look at every program in our district, from STEM to technology, English, math, social studies, business. There's one person, and that person is the oil can. And to disband that, you're saying destroy this district. And that's how I feel.
Okay, do I go next?
Yes, Eileen.
Okay, so I'm just kind of going to mirror what Jackie said earlier about the other position. It's not hands-on with the kids. And again, for the kids, I would do anything, but we also have directors, we have assistants, we have
There are
plenty
no
of people that have
directors.
been.
There are no directors or assistants in
Did I
that department.
interrupt you, Lee? Did I interrupt
Okay,
you?
I'll go again. I'll
Thank
say
you.
it again later.
Thank you. You can certainly say it. We have a director of VLA. We have a director of social studies. We have chair people in charge of all these departments, and they all collaboratively together, and they all put the curriculums together and bring all these awesome programs to the kids. I feel like they can still handle it, and I have no problem with the way those people have been doing it for years. So that's all I want to say on that. That's it.
Okay, can I go back in? First of all, they haven't been doing it that way for years. We've had chairs, but they've always been answering and following the lead of the assistant superintendent curriculum, not the other way around. The assistant superintendent for curriculum brings the programs in, and everyone will look at them. Your chairs look at them in a group with many people, not just a chair. But it's all the assistant superintendent for curriculum who does all this. He leads it, and then the chairs in those departments. I don't see where there's directors. There's no directors of English. There's no director of social studies. There's no director of math. There's assistant. There are chairs. So I think it's a since we are a school district and since we are talking about education, you are taking the oil out of the car.
Lee, I just wanted to correct you, Lee. There is directors for English, math, social studies, foreign language, and business. I believe business and social studies are combined. Math is its own director. English
That's
is
the
its own
chair.
director.
Aren't they chairs?
They're not.
No, I
No,
believe
they're
they're co-directors, so that's why I just let you
But
know.
they act as chair. but they do act as chairs. The chairs, they all,
Their title is
Uh,
director.
The director's lead.
okay, but he leads it. He leads it. He's the oil can. I'm telling you right now, I've seen this going on for years. He leads it. We sit at a board meeting and we sit there as a group and we talk about a program that we would like to see be put in place. We don't tell the chairs or the directors, as you would say. We talk to the assistant superintendent for curriculum. We ask
Actually, we're
him.
supposed to talk to Linda and then she's supposed to talk to him. That's
We're
actually the
talking
way it's supposed to go, but.
Not when you're at a board meeting. You talk to the group. You're not talking
Well,
to
'cause
Linda.
he's
You're
there, but
talking.
you can still,
You're
the
talking as a
proper way
group.
is that you tell Linda and then she tells her people.
No, you ask questions at a board meeting and you speak to whomever you want. You speak to the head of curriculum. You speak to the head of special ed. You speak to the head of our business person. You speak to these people. You ask these people the questions because they are heading up the departments. You don't speak to, and that's what's going on. When you want to find out what's going on in a particular area, you speak to the person that's sitting at the dais. That's why they're there, so they can educate us. So I have to respectfully, totally disagree on this one, because I think you're just hurting the educational process. We've always, in the 21 years I've been on this board, we've always had an assistant superintendent for curriculum. You go to any other school district, I can hand you the scope book tomorrow. You will see every school district on Long Island has an assistant superintendent for curriculum. We are not unusual. We are normal. They all have that oil can. Someone has to be responsible for this. And just to let everyone do their thing and it's not in the best interest of this district, not in the best interest of kids. And I can show you or have someone give you the scope book this week, each and every one of you, and you will see we're not an anomaly. We're doing what is a process. We're doing what is normal. And he's
Lee,
not an
does
anomaly.
Lee, does every single school though have directors? And also, because most
Yes,
schools
they
have
all have.
either
They
a
have chair
director,
people.
most of them
They
have
have chair
either a
people.
director or a assistant super. When I'm looking at the list, it's not every school has this. We have directors.
Okay, I will
We
give
have
you.
assistants
I'll give
to
you.
assistants. We have the assistant supers. You can't tell me that all of these people are sustainable in the state issues we have right now. You can't. You're also saying it's the same as with schools. With something, if you're really being fiscally responsible, then you and I both know tough decisions need to be made.
Hello?
I lost you. I lost Lee. I don't know if anybody could hear me.
I hear you. Can you hear me?
I can
I
hear
can hear you
you.
guys both.
I think we
Only Lee, I think. I
lost
can hear
Lee.
both
I
of
think
you.
we lost Lee.
I think we lost Lee. Let's wait a
You gotta
second
get
for
it
Lee.
back. Yes.
It looks like Lee just left the meeting, so I'm thinking she's gonna try to call back in. That's really all I can do.
All right, let's wait for Lee to come back.
So we're taking a short recess. Who's gonna sing for us?
I can let Bailey sing if you want. I can let her in my bedroom.
Listen, that dog's adorable. You should just put him on camera right now.
I should. Jesse, Lee just texted me. She needs a number to get back on. Can you text her the phone number?
Sure. I just texted her the call in.
Okay. Are you there, Lee? Lee, are you there? Lee,
I see a phone number, but I don't see her. I
Yeah,
don't hear her.
yeah, I saw that too.
Oh, maybe.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Lee, we can hear you.
Yep, I can hear you now.
Okay. All right, let me just finish the sentence and then I'm done. I would rather see, and I know I have seen a chair for 2 departments rather than a chair for each individual department, and keep the assistant superintendent for curriculum, because that's the way it was done in the past. And then we've had chairs moved around, and actually had 2 chairs that were chairs moving to elementary until they retired. And I think that if we used a chair for 2 subjects, we would not lose the person that's in charge of seeing everything. That's my opinion.
Lee, I was actually thinking the same thing. I'd rather see one director go than to see the person that oversees the whole operation go. So I happen to agree with you on that. I will never, ever, as long as I'm on the board, allow for English and science to be combined. Never, ever will I ever allow that to be combined for one director job. So I will leave it as that. Math and math and science should always be their own director.
I agree with that, Mylene.
Math and science, and then English and what? And social studies should have their own director too?
English, they have individual, yes, English has its own, social studies has its
I
own.
know. They never used to.
So before I would eliminate this position, I would eliminate a director position.
I agree with you.
Okay, anybody else has more to say? No?
Mark, Jackie?
No.
Okay, so we're gonna vote.
I'm good. Whatever you guys want to, when you're ready.
Okay, so we're going to vote on item number 2. I'm a no.
I'm a no.
I'm a yes
Mark?
for abolishing the position with the same stipulations as the other position.
Right, resolve the Board of
I'm a yes.
Education.
Jackie's a yes.
Mark?
I'm a yes.
Okay. We're moving on.
Mylene, what do you do?
I voted no because I'd rather see a director, a combination of 2 core subjects be combined than to alleviate a person that oversees all departments. So I said no.
Okay, thank you.
We're moving on to item number 3, Director of Guidance. Lee, would you like to weigh in?
No, I like to hear what everyone else has to say.
I don't have any. I'm just ready to vote. I need discussion.
Mark?
No.
Jackie? Jackie?
I don't have anything to add.
I mean, I think Jackie said it all. We're trying to be fiscally responsible. That's the bottom. And before we cut teachers and kids, people that actually see the kids every day and it's hands-on. I always said, when I ran, I said it's too top heavy. So I'm ready to move on. I don't have anything to say.
Okay. All right, so
I think you need a first and second for that vote for Director of Guidance.
I'm sorry, you're right. I need a motion and a second for Director of
Motion.
Guidance. Second.
Motion. All right, so
All right.
the discussion is between now if you guys are talking.
I understand that this is a new position that was created. I have seen some changes, but again, I understand that we need to be fiscally responsible. So I understand and I appreciate that. That's just my comment. Are we ready to vote?
I agree.
Are we ready to vote?
Yes,
I'm a yes.
yes.
Mark's a
I'm a
yes.
yes.
Jackie's a yes. Eileen?
Eileen's a yes. Yes.
Lee?
Yes, yes.
Okay. We're moving on to number 4. I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
What's number
What
4
is
again?
4?
Dean of Students.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I have noticed again.
Anybody have a discussion?
No,
Okay, so I need a vote. I'm a yes.
Jackie's a yes.
Eileen's a
Jackie's
yes.
Eileen's a yes. Lee?
No.
Mark?
Sustaining.
Mark. Okay.
Abstaining.
So we have 3 yeses.
All right.
Okay, it's abolished. Moving on to number 5, assistant principal at Cherokee. I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
Have any discussion? We just we're losing a P. Come on, I'll say it really fast. And we're not replacing that through attrition. I don't believe elementary schools in P. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And we're being fiscally responsible.
Any other comments?
I feel like the problem with this one is that the school itself may need this, and it's not a personal issue. It's more of the size of the school is almost the size of the middle school.
The Sycamore is almost the same size, though, isn't it?
No, not
Yeah.
student wise. Our number of students in one elementary school outweighs the rest almost 2 to 1.
What do you mean by our?
Linda, am I right?
What do you mean by our elementary school? Don't you just mean Cherokee's?
No, our elementary schools, Connecticut, our elementary schools.
Okay, so how many students is in this school?
No, you're not listening. Mark, what I'm saying to you is our elementary schools, all of the elementary schools combined, all of them.
Okay.
One of them has more students, 2 to 1, to most of the other schools. Linda, can you chime in and explain what I'm saying?
I don't actually have that
How
number
many
in
does
front of me.
Foxy have?
Cherokee is
How many-
certainly the biggest elementary school that we have.
But it's
How much
Sycamore
Foxy have?
currently has
100.
348, and I think Cherokee is in the 5s.
Yeah, it is. It's over 550. But I'm saying, isn't it? That's what I mean. Isn't it at least 100 to 150 kids more than every other school?
It's certainly the biggest. And I don't, as I said, I don't have that number in front of me. Sycamore, it currently has 348. I only have that because we looked at that as part of the rezoning. I didn't actually look at Cherokee recently, but it's definitely
Well,
in the
it's gonna
5s.
go up to they're both gonna go up, Sycamore.
Yeah, Sycamore is going to go up to 414 potentially if
It's gonna
the
be about the
rezoning
same. I think you
commences.
need to be consistent, that's my opinion, with whatever we do.
I agree, Mark.
So. And I know, Jack, I don't want you to be offended, I'm just giving my opinion. We need to show consistency.
No, and I'm not offended.
Okay,
I'm
good.
not offended. Like I said, I just feel like our middle schools have, how many kids does OBMS have?
No, but we're changing the numbers anyway if we.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying to you, Cherokee will still have over 100 kids more than any other elementary school, at least over 100.
Are we ready to vote?
I'm ready to vote. I'm actually going to abstain on this one. I don't have enough information, so I'm gonna abstain. Lee,
I vote. Okay.
Go ahead. I want to hear the votes.
Eileen,
I vote yes to a
I'm a
position
yes.
for the reasons I stated
I'm
earlier.
yes, I'm showing consistency. I'm sorry, but I vote yes. I can't.
okay, so,
Then I'll vote yes.
okay, so
Okay,
the
so
position is
Oh,
abolished.
wait, you got, okay.
Yeah, you have the 3 yeses.
And Jack,
Okay.
vote though.
What?
No, I'm.
He doesn't have to
Jackie's
vote.
vote is a no. Jackie's vote is a no. I'm sorry. It's not about consistency. It's about, I know you, I am being consistent. I'm looking at the numbers, and the school's a big school. But I respect what your decision is.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're moving on to secondary assistant principal. I need a motion in a second to resolve the
Motion.
board. Okay, a second. Any discussion
For who?
I don't have any,
For who?
for the assistant
an AP at the high school.
AP at the high school? So if we eliminate this position, this will leave us with 2 APs. Am I correct?
That's already getting done.
Yes,
Am I correct?
Correct.
yes.
Okay, I'm going to say, you're already eliminating the dean of students. We still have a healthy population at the high school. Comparing to the neighboring schools that Linda had showed us, my answer is a no.
My answer is a no.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
Looking at the neighboring schools, I looked at them as well, and I thought that I saw many that had just 2. Many that had 2, and many that had the 1
How
principal.
many?
What?
Linda, can I ask a question? How many kids in the high school?
About 15 to 1,600.
In the entire high school?
when Rachel went, it was about 2,000.
I know. It used to be 18,
Yeah.
1,500 to 18, 16. Okay.
You know what? It may be 1,800 still. I'm sorry. I'm once again don't have that number in front of me. I'm pretty sure it's about
So
between 500 and
1,800.
600 a class.
It's
So there's 4
1,800.
classes, so it's about 1,800.
It's 1,800.
So each AP will get 900 kids, and then the principal oversees them.
It's
Or
At
it
high
could be
school.
they all get 600 kids. It's 3 split 3 ways.
It's 1809. It's going to be
You have a class still too.
there's going to be 1,809 students there, but you've already eliminated the director of guidance, and you've eliminated a dean. So you're going to leave this principal with 1,800 kids and 2 assistants.
And then you
Good
worry
principal.
about
He
what,
can handle
and
it.
no wrap room.
So,
So what? You already put your vote in. I said yes.
okay, Mark,
I got it. I'm just thinking to myself. I need a second.
okay, Jackie,
I'm still thinking on this one myself. Come back to me.
okay. So Lee, did you give your answer? Lee, did you give your answer?
She did earlier. I have her marked down for no.
Okay.
Am I off again?
You're here. I hear
Anyone
you. Lee.
hear?
I hear you, Lee.
All right.
We're just waiting on Mark and Jackie to give their answer.
I'm going to vote to do it. I'm gonna vote to, if we need a third one, we could put one in. It's not an
Right,
issue
there's a
to,
preferred eligibility list. We have to
because
be
right
fiscally
now,
responsible.
aren't we
But
I'm
go ahead.
having
working?
a, I'm
Wait,
having a
asking,
hard,
can I speak for a minute, Lee?
go
I
ahead,
just
go
want to
ahead.
ask, aren't we working right now with just two? And then we have an interim. So if we don't have an interim, but we still have the two, right? We could always bring back an interim or add the position, correct? Because we wouldn't be actually adding a person or someone off of a list, that would have to get brought back. That position is actually not anybody in it right now, correct?
Right.
We have,
No, there is.
we have three
No,
APs
there-
at the, we have three
No,
APs.
you have somebody as an interim in there, correct?
Yes,
Oh,
because
right, right.
Okay, so what I'm saying is someone is not technically going to be losing a position in September because the position wasn't going to be there. We were going to have to hire someone, correct?
Mike Hansen,
Right.
I'm sorry, Mike Moran currently has that role. And then, now we have,
Say name, Mylan.
I apologize. We have
Yeah.
we have a interim principal, we have an interim AP. The interim
Right,
AP,
that's what I'm saying. So we don't have to worry about somebody being on a preferred list to have to come back. If we want to put that position back, couldn't we just motion to put it back in September, October if we felt it was necessary?
you're abolishing a
Yeah.
position. You're abolishing a
Yes.
position.
Yes, but you
Yes,
can always
but
vote to
just
get a
as
new
we
position.
abolish it, couldn't we
Yeah, but
bring the
you're also
position
taking the
back
money out
if
of the
we felt?
budget. You're taking the money out of the budget for that position. So where are you gonna find the money? I don't know,
Lee,
it's even ethical.
Lee, I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
I'm
Is
just
there-
saying, I don't know if it's
well,
ethical or
isn't
not.
there contingency? I'm just
It's not about
asking you.
ethics, Lee, it's about the money.
I'm asking a quick question. Is if you abolish a position, or actually maybe this is for Lisa. Lisa, if we abolish a position and there's nobody right now that is permanently in that position or might not permanently be in that position, would we be able to bring it back if we saw that it was a necessity for that position?
Of course. So anytime you abolish a position, a lot of times boards are trying to create their budgets and believe that they need to abolish a position or do abolish a position. But then when the end of the year comes, they realize they have the funding and then they can recreate the position and bring that person back. So
Okay, in this case, there wouldn't be a person, so we would have to hire for someone.
yes, you would fill the position with the person. But yes, that happens all the time.
Okay,
As-
then I'm gonna thank you, Lisa. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna vote
Yeah.
to abolish the position right now and to revisit it again if necessary. If necessity
So-
becomes, I would be for revisiting it in the future. But for right now, I would like to try with what we have and see, because like I said, I don't feel that it would be an issue.
All right, I just a little, we have 1,800 high school kids and all the issues
Lee,
and
when I went to
complaining.
school, there was more than that.
Well, yeah, but I hear that you're complaining that there's no one in the hallway, there's no one doing this. Kids are fighting each other, beating up each other, and all these
I
terrible
don't
things
think
are
that
happening.
that's where the principal needs to. I think we need more security in place.
Oh,
Extra
guns.
added
Okay.
security, extra psychologists, extra
She
special.
never said guns in school. Stop that already.
Yeah, Lee, please. Now you just like can't we be mature adults?
The little
Please.
digs
I
gotta go.
am, but
Just
I just
stop
don't,
and have
going on.
discussion.
I don't
And this is the kind of
understand
behavior.
how you're saying 500 kids is too much for one person in elementary school, but you're saying 2 people are more than enough for 18 high
It's not
school
two.
kids.
It's three. It's three. It's a principal and 2 assistant principals. 2 assistant principals and a principal. And not for nothing, just so we're clear, if you bring in more YFS, more guidance, and I mean counselors, forget the supervision ones, and let's bring in the people who actually work with the children.
Oh,
What
so
don't
are
we
you adding?
understand?
Are you
I agree
are
with
you adding them?
Eileen with
Are
being
you
top heavy.
are you requesting that we hire these people for this budget? So why don't you put that on there?
I don't know what you
That
mean.
you-
Listen, I'm all for it. I've been telling you guys for how long? YFS, add people. I've been fighting for that long before I got on the board. I was at your meeting.
So why
That-
don't you
saying
request,
it to you.
Ellie, for,
Lee,
why
how
don't
many
you
times
request?
did I stand before
Because
you
that's not what
and
this
tell
vote is
you
about.
you
Can we
needed
get back
better
on
security,
topic?
more security, more tools, you needed the doors, you needed the vestibules? How many times for the last 10 years did I, as a parent, stand before you, Lee, while you were on the board? And how many times did I tell you you needed certain things? But you know what?
We have vestibules.
You didn't? No. It took years of fighting for those things. And as a parent, I had to continue to fight for what I believed
Not for
in. And now on the
vestibules.
board, I'm doing the same. I'm doing what I feel is fiscally responsible for all, for the majority. And I just said it. And you should have said, that's actually a good idea, Jackie. I said, I am for abolishing a position, but I'm also for revisiting it. Again, if the necessity becomes where we both know, hey, we have to bring that position back. But right now, I don't see the necessity. I see right now that you could have one AP. If you have somebody who's doing what they got to do, walking through those hallways.
I think an AP does more than walk through a hallway. They
I
talk
think
to
you're
kids.
right, and I think we're seeing it right now. I think we're seeing it.
All right, I don't know if anybody had a chance to look at the administrator comparison at our neighboring districts.
Yes, I saw it.
I don't understand why you have smaller districts with 3 assistant principals, and we have 1,800 kids, and we're gonna have 2 assistant principals. I think this is something.
Their enrollment didn't go down and they're not being fiscally responsible. I don't know what other districts do. I'm just saying that this was one of the things that were on the list for the administration. We wanted to go from down, and I think everybody.
All right, did anybody look at the email about how many
I
children
did. I have the paper right in front of me.
that how many children have been disciplined in our how many offenses and how many, the disciplinary actions in our high school? That was I believe emailed today. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know the list that you're talking about. I looked at it.
No, the disciplinary actions. How many actions?
The one that Bridget sent us over?
Well, I thought that you guys all told me
Reza?
that detention and all these disciplinary actions got to be less because of all these great programs, supposedly.
They were less. They are less. It showed less
Oh,
this
so
year.
then what are you talking about? That's what I'm saying, Lee. You told me how
less is
great
400
the
versus
programs that I
500.
wasn't for are. So here you go.
It's less 100 from last year, but there's still 400 to deal with. Well, just see how it goes. And you'll see next year. If the numbers go up, then you just feel bad.
Then we hire
that's
somebody
what we
back.
have to do.
Yeah,
Right. Let them go up first. and then
You know
hire
what?
someone back.
I don't think any. I just want to highlight again.
Be reactive. Be reactive. Don't be proactive.
I just want to.
I think we are with the money right now. We're being very proactive.
Lee, that's what I
I think
wanted to be for years. Wait, that's what I wanted to be for years with security, but you guys weren't. So I don't want to really hear it because that's the same argument that I've had with security.
All right,
We have
stop
vestibules.
arguing
We
and
have
just vote.
doors. We have
Oy
more
vey.
cameras than any other district around. We have.
We're not talking about security right now. We're talking about the
Well, she's
assistant
bringing up
We are
principal
the
of high
security. We're
only
over
school.
school
$2
on Long
million
Island.
a year.
The only school who had plots against our high school. The only school on Long Island that had plots where kids went to, where we had criminals come in and actually make threats that went to jail. We made the news. Hello, we're the only school. Yeah,
I know.
I've been on the
We
board
make
21 years.
You know
Great
what?
job.
You know why we make the
Great
news?
job.
Because it so seldom happens, and everyone runs to the paper. Do you find out there are fights in other districts all the time?
Lee,
Stuff
that's
goes on
not
all
what
the
I'm
time.
talking about.
It never
There
gets
was
to
a
the
plot.
news.
There was a
I'm
plot.
gonna mute this.
There was a plot years ago. You were on the
I
board,
was
so
on
you
the
know what I'm
board.
talking about.
Yes,
There was a
there
plot
was.
against our school, not once, but twice, that made the news.
Same
that
boy.
people went to jail for. So I hate to say to you this,
A
but
boy
we're the
went to
only
jail.
school on Long
One
Island.
person went to jail for.
Okay, we're
One
the only
person went to
school
jail
on
for.
Long Island that had that happen, And we're the only one that is still standing back saying, oh no, not our school, please.
It can happen, and it's probably happened in plenty of schools. We just don't hear about it because it
Mylan,
doesn't
take
make the
control,
news.
man. We
It's
gotta get,
commonplace.
this is not the
Brentwood is
topic.
commonplace. Centralized is commonplace in many, many school districts.
Hey,
Don't say
leave
that
my
no
alma
one else
mater
ever had
alone.
it.
School
You
districts
know?
have plots against them. Many school districts you think had plots against them, but it didn't
You
make
don't
the
know.
paper.
I don't know.
Come on, Lee.
I don't
Come
know.
on.
We don't hear anything in the papers about any of these school districts, only Connecticut.
Okay, this is not the discussion right now. The discussion is the AP at the high school. We need to make a motion to vote and move on.
I just want
I don't
to,
want to hear you two anymore.
I just want to make one last comment. Again, I don't want to sound repetitious, but we are looking that if in fact we go back to school in September, we are going to see a new normal. We are going to see children regressing. We are going to see children having an extreme amount of anxiety. We're going to see a different change in how our students are going to potentially look after this pandemic. I just think that these cuts are a little bit too deep, especially with a secondary assistant principal, way too deep. You need some guidance in the hall. You need some, I don't know, too deep. But that's my last comment.
All right, so I'm one last comment too, just to rebut what you just said, Mylin. These, you're talking about, again, top-heavy administration cuts that we're making. The cuts that were sent out without our knowledge were people that are hands-on with these kids, that see them every day, that will help them through this crisis. And if need be, I'd rather hire more YFS workers with all the money that we're saving now. That's my last comment. I'm done. Call me back when it's ready to vote.
The assistant principal is hands-on with the children. They are hands-on. They're not pushing pencils behind a desk. They are hands-on. But that'll be my last comment. All right, so we're gonna go.
Well, what we had heard before we put an interim in there was different. So I tend to disagree. That's why I say it depends on who you have in the positions. If they can work out. If it works out, great. If we have to add another one, that's adding something is always easier than taking it away then.
Yep.
All right, so let's play this scenario out. You find out.
Let's just vote.
Wait, I just want to say one thing. Let's play this scenario out. You find out in October that the caseload is too much for the 2 assistant principals and the principal. Then what are you going to do? Take 6 weeks for a hiring committee, and it's 6 weeks that our children will run around the school with only having guidance of a principal and 2 assistants. So just think about the time frame that you're not going to have.
Just as a point of information, the person who was laid off is on the preferred eligibility list and would have entitlement to that position.
Okay.
If they're available.
Well, there won't be, because I think this is going to be a vacant position, kind of. If this is a vacant position that we were going to have to hire for anyway, possibly, if we were going to have to possibly hire for it, then it tells you that that's the situation.
Okay, so are we ready to vote? I'm a
Yep,
no.
I'm ready.
I'm a no.
Eileen?
I'm a yes.
Jackie? Jackie?
I'm a yes. I'm a yes.
Mark?
Both have good points, but I do like the fact that we could bring back if we had to. So I'm a yes. I'm just being consistent with what I've been doing.
Okay. So, so I just want to summarize 1 through 6 have been abolished.
Correct. With all those stipulations that Lisa said earlier.
Okay. All right, let's move on to, okay, we're moving on to consent agenda. We have items 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I need a motion in a second and then time for discussion. Motion.
Second.
Second. Oh,
Okay.
seconded.
Any questions? I'm sorry, are we tabling number 3?
We're tabling number 3, yes.
Okay, so then actually it's 1, 2, 4, and 5.
Correct.
Any discussion?
Yeah, Lynn, you brought up some good questions about the number 5, the high tower communications. I don't know if I
Yes.
got that answer.
I believe Linda did answer that. Linda, could you elaborate?
Yes, that is our service provider for our security walkie-talkies throughout the district.
Yes. Any other questions?
Okay. That's a lot of money we're paying for. How many are these? How many walkie-talkies do we have?
There's at least 4 or 5 in each building. We have them out on the playgrounds. They're the high-powered ones. They're out on the playgrounds. They're out. They can actually speak across the district. So if something is happening at Duffield, we can actually speak to idle hour. So they are the high-powered
So it's
radios.
a little bit more. So it's like next walkie-talkies first came out, we're paying $20,000.
I didn't hear your comment. I'm
Correct?
sorry.
When Nextel first came out, walkie-talkies that across towns. I didn't pay $20,000 for a Nextel phone, but the text, the walkie-talkies, the high power, a lot of money. Did we bid this out? Because I only see this.
I don't know if Bridget can answer that. I think we did bid it out. We've bid it out in the past. They were definitely the winners in the past. They also.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
This is also a hearing.
Say that again, Bridget.
I said this is also a 10-year contract that's expiring. So this where it's located is the highest point of Long Island. It shares it with WBSI, County Communications, T-Mobile, and many others. But if we did change it, there would be a lot of things to consider.
How long is this contract for?
10 years.
And that's what we're extending it for, another 10 years? Oh,
yes.
5 more years. No, it says August 31st, 25.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. So
All
I'm okay with that. All right, let me just see the other one. We number 3, right?
Yes.
What's the secret determination? Can you explain that, Linda?
That's a John Allen question. It has to do with the ability for us to do our construction projects.
Oh, okay, this is but it's just mandatory things, not things that aren't like if we wanted to do the lights right now, we can't do them because of the governor's order. These are just the mandatory things that we need to.
This is the energy performance contract. This is one of the steps that we need to take before we even begin the construction to make sure that everything that we're doing meets all of the environmental impact studies.
This is the second energy performance. The first one that the board before us voted on,
right?
That was we hired somebody who went around to the lights and all that.
This is the energy performance contract. That is a totally different project. This is a totally different project.
Okay, so Jesse, the totally different contract that I'm talking about, please add for the discussion for the agenda.
Could you repeat that? You're breaking up.
Jesse, the next, Linda, can you explain to her that what contract I'm talking about?
You're putting on you want to talk about the savings with the person that is in our district that monitors
Yes, I want a
our
discussion
utilization.
on that. Yep, discussion on that. Please put that on the next agenda.
I will get that on.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm done. I'm ready. I don't have any more comments. I don't know if anybody else does.
Okay, all in favor? I'm a yes. Eileen?
Yes.
Lisa, yes. Eileen's a yes. Mark?
Yeah.
Lisa, yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so it looks like we're done. We're about to adjourn this meeting.
Well, we were supposed to go back into an executive session for a personnel issue. Are we doing that?
I can't, not tonight.
All right, we can make a separate meeting for that, but are you guys going to be available for that?
Yeah, I'll be available.
Yeah, I can't.
Why don't we just do it tonight?
I can't do it tonight.
Okay.
All right, Mark, it's a little late now. We could do it another day
Right.
during the daytime or something.
Who said
We
it's a
could-
little late, just out of curiosity?
I did.
What?
Who?
I said it was late, so did Lee.
We've been here till
I
12 o'clock.
was working since
But
8
I'm
o'clock
okay
this
with
morning.
doing it another time. I'm just joking.
I know, but I don't
Oh.
want to be here till 12 o'clock. So I agree with Lee Kennedy on this one. Lee, you heard that, right? We're
I
recording.
heard that one.
I agree with
Okay.
Lee Kennedy. It's getting late.
Okay,
I'm
well,
ready to end the meeting.
just on a lighter note, I just wanted to do a shout out to our teachers, our community, our staff, everyone in the community. I've seen all the pictures posted on our Connect Quad district. I've seen the enormous help provided to nurses, the community members helping neighbors. So I'm very proud of our community. Amid this very scary times, I'm just happy to see that people join together and try to help each other the best that they can. So
I'm going to second what Mylene just said, and I just want to add in 2 more things. All the cars went around to the kids, the teachers that did all that, freaking fabulous. And the other person was Mr. Moran at the high school, who has been tweeting every day. Well, I'm not sure if he does it every day because I don't check it every day, but he's been tweeting, and if you send him in a picture, he'll post it up on his. I think all of our teachers, all of our staff had amazing. I want to say thank you.
And I just want to tell everybody, stay safe, stay healthy,
Yeah.
and we're all gonna get through this. This is gonna pass. This too shall pass, and we're gonna all be stronger because of it. If any of the parents or anybody needs anything, please don't hesitate to reach out.
okay, on that note, I need all in favor to adjourn.
Aye.
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 All right, everyone get home. Everyone stay safe.
Okay.
Have a good night, all.
Bye.
Good
Good
night.
night, everyone.
Good night.